Today I'm here with Kamala from Florida, and she recently went to Sisters of the Nile Mystery School with me in Egypt. And she was on our sacred pilgrimage where we journeyed from the root chakra to the crown, doing different initiatory work, both within the temples and in group sessions. And we're just going to have a chat today about her experiences and why she came to Egypt, what kind of experiences she had while she was there, and I'm really excited to get started. So thank you so much for being here and taking the time to be here with me today.
It's
Welcome.
lovely to be here. Thank you, Carolyn. So glad to be here with you. Thanks for
Yeah,
having me.
thanks. So first question, what drew you to Egypt? What called you there?
Hmm. Well, I think you had something to do with that
Hmm.
because I had had a class with you and I was doing the initiation class as sort of a follow-up. And I really felt such an authentic presence from you. And I knew that it would be the way to go. And I was not wrong. It was a beautiful trip. It was everything I had hoped it would be and more, much
Hmm.
more. I would say life-changing for sure. So what drew me was Egypt's always been on my radar, but I've never felt particularly committed or that it was the absolute right time. But for some reason, when your trip came up, it was an instant, yes, I'm doing this. I read the itinerary and I thought, there'll never be a better trip. This is it. I've got to do this. So I did.
Hmm. I'm so happy that you did. Because
Followed
as
that splenic
yes,
authority.
I was just thinking that we both have that splenic authority, so I know
Yeah.
what that feels like when you get a yes. And I just want to speak into how powerful it is when we co-create together, because every
Mhm.
group and every journey will be different. So, yeah, that was so magical to have your presence on my very first journey. So, thank you. Thank you for
Absolutely. And
answering
also
that
that
call.
I really didn't know you in person, only
Hmm.
online, had never
Hmm.
met you in person, but felt, like I did know you, but also didn't know anyone else who was going on the trip. And I ended up being the only person from the US. Everyone was Canadian. So it was
Right.
great. I loved it. It was a beautiful group.
Yeah, yeah, amazing. So good. So, when we were on the journey, what stood out for you? Like what are some highlights that you would share?
Hmm. Oh gosh, so many really gorgeous moments. There's so many snippets. I knew you'd ask, like, what's a thing or what's a special time or something, but I think that when we first began going down the Nile and realizing where we were, and once we were kind of in the sailing aspect of it, it was just almost surreal that we were there. The landscape started to open up. The people were so friendly. That was beautiful. But then when we started to go to the sites, so as you know, my absolute favorite day was the Temple of Karnak, and especially Sekhmet, the Temple of Sekhmet. I think all of us had a really moving experience that day. That was so special. Um, and then the seven gates and the seven keys in that same complex. It just, still brings chills to me, really, because I had such an opening there and so much was revealed in our ceremony and and afterwards and before. It really was a shift for me, what happened that day. So that was a very special moment. I would say that obviously being in the King's Pyramid and having the rebirth session, the meditation and the breathing and all of it, but so many, I don't know, so many good things.
Yeah. So yeah, let's speak a little bit more about Sekhmet. Just
Okay.
a little bit more, because when you said it immediately, I had chills, myself, and it's like they happen here, and I
Mhm.
know you're so correct that everyone had some sort of opening during that, and I feel like it was halfway through our trip, and it was perfect, like aligned timing just for this extra opening for the rest of our journey. And one thing I love about Sekhmet is that it's like she cuts through any illusion or
Oh
anything
yeah,
that we're holding, that it's like we're not allowing ourselves to feel or to move through it, right? So that we can actually
exactly.
expand into our greatest version of who we are, and it's like whatever that looks like is different for each individual. But I'm wondering, like, what for you? I know I had such a deep experience going in because everyone had private time with Sekhmet. And, for me, it was so profound, so deep, so powerful. Something happened that I would not expect, where she became alive, in front of me. And it was like, of course, the human mind's like, I didn't even have a moment to think, is this real? Like, it was
That's
just like,
happening.
it was a feeling, it was a
Yes.
transmission, and it was like I received messages. And I know each individual having that space and time with her, something unlocked. It was another key that unlocked. So, are you willing to share any of whatever that it is coming to you about that experience of
Sure.
what maybe was unlocked for you or
I,
whatever? Yeah.
I can, and I'll probably, make it a not a long share so that we
Hmm.
don't take all the time for that. But so what started making that temple so beautiful was, first of all, the energy there was palpable. Every one of us felt it. I think the people who worked there felt it. It was a different feeling from the moment we stepped foot inside, and they were holding space for us outside. And then as we gathered on that altar stone and all held space for each other, that was the beginning of the build. The energy just built and built and built. And then I don't know if you remember, but you went in first.
Hmm.
And when you came out, you said, when I come out, I will touch one of you and say it's your turn and you'll go in, and then that person will come out and I'll get another person, and we went in one at a time so that we each had our own individual experience. So when you walked out, you came straight to me. I was the first one to go in, and the look on your face and your eyes, I was like, oh my God, what's about to happen to me? Because you just were lit from within. It was so apparent that you had had a really powerful experience. So I'm going in thinking, okay, she told me to think of this and this and this, and what about all these thoughts in my head? And I thought, I don't really know the answer to that question, but I just stood there. I guess we're in the temple of Set to begin with.
No, in Ptah. So
Ptah, sorry,
Yeah,
Ptah.
yeah,
Yes.
Ptah is her
And then
husband.
we
Yeah.
had our instructions for there. So while I'm in there, I'm just like, I'm just open to this, open, open, open.
Hmm.
Bring me whatever I need. And then you brought me into Sekhmet. And I stood before her, and the moment I got in front of her, it was like you said, it was this very transformative, otherworldly feeling of this being is communicating with me. And I was very clearly told that this particular time of life that I'm in and things that I've been dealing with, I've approached it from a very mental aspect, but I had not let my heart be involved, and there had been no grief for all of the loss that I've experienced. I've processed it mentally, but I had not allowed myself. I'm in the planning and what do I do next and how do I handle all the things that this mundane world requires, but I had not gone into my heart to really grieve the loss I was experiencing. And she just said, give it to me.
Hmm.
Just give me the grief. And so I did. And when I walked out, I, you got me, and I came out and I put my hands back on the altar and I stood there, and I had so much just pour from me. And I wasn't making any noise. It wasn't like a big sob. It was just pouring and pouring and pouring until I was not emptied, but opened.
Hmm.
So what had been there was released so that I could be where I need to be in my heart. I didn't have the space for it. Does that make sense?
Hmm.
That the space
Absolutely.
was open rather than emptied. I didn't feel empty at all. I felt really opened up. And in fact, that night at dinner, something came up, and you were, I think, sitting across from me, and you said, Kamala, you look physically different since you were in the temple this morning.
Hmm. Yeah.
So it must have been apparent.
Yes.
So
very
that was a
much.
huge opening, and part of that made the space for me to move on to the next thing, which was then the symbols started showing up. Then the repeated messages started to show up so that I had the space for it and could really get the next thing that I needed on the trip.
Mm, yeah.
So for me, that was just hugely, and I still to this day, when I really think about what that felt like to be in the presence of that energy, it, like you said, it gives you chills all over.
Hmm.
But for me, I really feel it in my heart. It's like huge heart opening. And
Hmm.
so sometimes, even when I get to the place of like thinking, I'll just go, wait a minute, let me go back to here. And
Mm,
then I can respond rather than react.
yeah. Wow.
Huge, just huge healing, huge.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah.
I think I was like, I can go home now today, but we had a lot more to see, a lot more to do.
Yes.
Yeah. Like you said, I think that was midpoint.
Yes, it was. And what a beautiful story, and so relatable, because we tend to live in our minds, and it really is that invitation to come back into our hearts for all of us, the way we heal ourselves, the way we heal the world, the way we show up. And I feel like that's what I saw at dinner. You were it was like you had let go a layer of
Yes.
holding, of armor, and not armor of being any, like, there's no, it's not that it was a negative thing, it was just there was a block of armor on
I
you, and
think
it
it
was
was
like,
safety. I didn't
yeah,
feel safe. And
yeah,
I felt, and
yeah.
afterwards, I felt like I had been held by my mother and
Mm,
just allowed to weep it out and let it go. And I didn't need to worry about my safety anymore. I was safe.
mm, mm,
Huge. That's huge because uh, part of the mental angst was, will I be okay?
mm,
Will I be safe? What will my life look like?
yeah.
And I don't worry about that today.
Mm, wow, that's huge. Yeah.
So thanks for that, however many minutes it was in Sekhmet's presence.
Yes, right. I
Yeah,
mean, and even though it's a shorter amount of time, it just for me even felt like eternity, like time stood still in her presence, like it
I
really.
do. I don't know how long we were each there, but I do know from talking to the group that everyone had an experience there.
Mm,
And, like I said, even the guards knew
mhm,
this was a special place. And
mhm,
it felt so respected.
mm,
And, they came in and even moved. There was that little rope and little,
yeah.
what are those things called that keep you back? Crowd control,
Yeah, I know.
little stanchions or whatever they are.
Yeah.
Anyway, he came and physically moved that while I was standing there and pulled me up closer to her.
Hmm.
And then we were like, wow, okay, we're getting like right next to her. And then we were even allowed to touch her. So
Hmm.
it was amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. And I love that you brought up the guards because I can distinctly, and I don't know if you can relate to this, but looking back, every temple, whatever chakra we were working on, it was like there was the people that were maybe selling things outside the temple. It was very relatable to the energy of each chakra. Like, the first chakra going into like a power struggle and getting into like your ego, and then it's like everybody was like, buy for me, blah, 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 blah. Like it was very chaotic, right? And then
Hmm.
by the time, as you said, when we got to Sekhmet's, I feel there was like a sacredness that those guards held,
Yes.
that, and it was like a reverence for the energy there, a reverence for those that are visiting, and really honoring the work that we were there doing for ourselves and for the planet, because
It
it's
so
not
felt
just.
like that.
Yeah, and it's not just about us. We don't just go there, yes, we receive our keys and codes and our, fragments of our soul and come back more into wholeness through these processes, but it's also delivering our soul's codes to the land, and working with the land, to give back. And I feel like, there is a lot of distortion at different sacred sites and in the ley lines, because lots of work happens there. A lot of different
Yes.
groups come there, and some of them don't have the most pure intentions, and most of the time very unconsciously, you know? And so I feel like that's part of the work that we do as well when we come together in these journeys. So,
Well, one of the things I think that is separates groups like that from your group is
mhm,
that we didn't go there to any site, not just there, but we didn't go to any site with the intention of what can I get.
mhm,
We went there with honoring, with thanksgiving, with, ceremony, with celebrating
mhm,
what we knew was available there, but also just the energy of it, just so appreciative of the opportunity. So we went there with open hearts, and as a result, we were gifted.
mhm.
But we didn't go there to take. We went there to receive if there was something given, but we didn't go there to take anything. And I think sometimes people approach sacred sites as, oh, well, I'll take something from here.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah,
different
absolutely.
mentality.
Absolutely. And really, it's such a free place to come to a place without any expectation,
Hmm.
you know? Because that I feel like in and of itself just teaches us that lesson of being present. Because even whether you're at a sacred site or not, just being in the moment is where the blessings are, you know?
And honestly, when you are in that frequency and that energy, it's shifting things in you, even on a cellular level that you may not recognize that day. You may not recognize it that week. It may be something that comes to you later and you say, "Oh, that feels like the that energy or that frequency." I think it stays with you and changes you if you're open to
Hmm.
that.
Absolutely.
Hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. It's so powerful. So, so powerful. Just, speaking, having these conversations and speaking into the journey and what happened, like it just, I don't know about you, but for me, it brings the whole cellular memory back in my
Hmm.
body in the moment. And
Yes.
it's really powerful how we can do that, and even just thinking about sometimes I'm meditating and I end up like it was actually today I was in the Great Pyramid while I was in my meditation today, and it's just interesting how we have connections to different lands and different places, and it's like we can go there anytime, if we'd like to, right, and really connect in.
I know that you posted a picture of our group in the King's Chamber of the
Hmm.
Great Pyramid, and we had private access there, and the guard there was really sweet too. And I looked at my face and I thought I look like an alien. I just looked so wild-eyed. I don't know. We had finished our breathing and our meditation, and we had been in the sarcophagus and doing all the rebirthing, and I was just like, it was so funny to see that expression.
Do you know what's interesting? Because I look at that picture and in everyone, I feel like they look different in their own way. Like there's something that shifted. But when I look at you, because every time I do notice you, because you're sitting like a little bit, we're all kind of like not sitting the same way, but you're sitting like back against the
I know my legs are
sarcophagus.
kind of splayed out to the side, like, oh boy, what was that?
But you, honestly, you know what I see in you when I look at that picture? I just see like the child, like you look like, I don't know, like a little child. I
Like
don't know.
wild-eyed.
I just, that's all I see. I was like, it's little Kamala. Like, it's so
I
cute.
think there was such a feeling of wonder joy so many times, though. So
Yeah.
many times.
Yeah.
And when do you remember we went to that private farm where they fed us and we were at those,
Yes.
everything was outside, but it was
Mhm.
very local and they fed us all the local Egyptian foods and served us in that beautiful little cabana. And
Yes.
there was a swing there, and we were all just playing on the swing and looking at the chickens and playing with the dog and all the things. It really was childlike energy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It truly was. Yeah. I love that. Yeah. Definitely, it's like so beautiful how you can see it in people's faces, the shift, right? And the
Yeah.
and the and the energetics when you're really sensitive, you just see the entire shift. But definitely that King's Chamber has some powerful energy within it.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we had one of the ladies was, you have to bend over, climb up,
Yep.
going up, and she just did it. She just did it. And at one point, if you had to get on your hands and knees to make it, you just did it. There was no slowing us down
Hmm.
anywhere. And I don't think any of us felt like we couldn't do it, or we were too tired. You know what? It never occurred to you to say, no, I can't do that today. We just did it
Yeah.
with ease. We
Yeah.
did it with ease. So that was good too. Yeah. But also, I feel like the group in general, it
Hmm.
really created a sisterhood. And I can't say enough good things about our guides,
Yes. Rena and
Fatma
Fatma.
and Rena.
Hmm.
Just what a beautiful, beautiful energy they brought, and the playfulness. They were
Hmm.
so playful and
Hmm.
so extremely knowledgeable, because
Yes.
they could tell us the history of everything, and then like wink, wink. Well, here's what really is the energy here, and then
Hmm.
with you involved and all of your knowledge, it was like, wow, we're getting like a huge lesson here
Mm.
about what this is all about, what it's
Mm.
really all about.
Yeah. Yeah.
So.
It is quite a blessing that they found me, I found them. We found each other,
You're a good
because
team.
yeah, it really, I feel to be able to have the depth of their wisdom, their knowledge, and their support for the work we do,
Yes.
because I don't think every guide, tour guide, Egyptologist would be open, and it's not even about being open, it's about the understanding and the depth,
But supportive too. Not
Exactly,
only open, but
exactly.
very supportive, because they
Yes,
really held space everywhere we went.
yes,
Everything
yes.
we did, they would hold space for
Yeah.
it.
And I one thing I have to say is I know others who have been to Egypt with other experiences with their guides, where they see all the chaos that's happening, and it's like the whole group gets kind of involved in whatever the business aspect that happens, because there's a whole aspect that happens
Oh,
because
yeah. A
they're
lot behind the
run
scenes.
yeah, and I feel like they just held such a solid space for us that we just were able to be there, relax, and do the work. It really, yeah, it's really
Great.
amazing. Yeah,
Yes, for sure.
yeah, yeah.
And, your teachings too, so that once we had had the day and had a moment to rest, and then we'd gather it for in the evenings for our lessons and for our um, meditations and so forth. But it felt like that was helping us really embody everything we had learned, everything we'd experienced, and carrying tools with us to keep it with us,
Hmm.
to keep that embodied. And
Yeah,
I feel like going back to my experience about my heart,
yeah.
that's really what it feels like. It feels like an embodiment.
Hmm. Hmm.
So grounding it, bringing it into the body, and yeah, there's some of those. I guess I don't know if some of those are Kundalini or some of them are just postures that you created for these special things, but like the goddess one, I'm still doing
Mm-hmm.
all the time,
Mm-hmm.
like standing in my power. Oh, that was the other thing too. Um, I know you might have specific questions you want to get addressed, but that
No, that's
the
okay.
symbol that came to me of that with the Ankh
Oh,
and
right.
then the was scepter, and it took on this goddess form, which
Mm-hmm.
was so cool because it was all about divine authority and living your life from this, knowing there you have an internal power, that you don't need external forces to have divine authority over your life. It was the perfect symbol for me. It
Mm-hmm.
was perfect, and it just kept showing up every day, and never went away. And when I
Mm.
got home and got my oracle cards that you had shared with us, they were delivered. And the first card I pulled was that was scepter.
Wow. Yeah.
So it's become very meaningful for me. And again, when I get to a place where I'm like, I don't know, I'm like, go back to that divine authority,
Mm-hmm.
go back to that place of inner knowing,
Mm-hmm.
trusting yourself. You don't need external forces to validate for you. That's
Right.
huge.
It's very
For
huge.
me, it's huge.
Mm-hmm.
It's big.
Mm-hmm. I
For
think
you, it might come easy and natural.
Well, yeah, no. I mean, yes and no. I think we're all work in progress, and I have my
Mhm.
moments where it's like really just like, okay, maybe I'll talk it out or I want to share. I'm not sure, and I think talking it out sometimes helps to process hearing it outside of myself. That's also part of my human design. So it just depends on certain aspects of that.
Mhm.
But, in the last, actually, just this eclipse season right now, there's something so deep about prayer for me right now where
Mm.
I feel like I'm turning inward more than I ever have before. And it's really, yeah, it's really just an interesting shift of course, I'm still going to speak and ask people and or share if I need to, but it just feels like I'm being asked to trust more deeply in going inward and not outward, you know? And you were speaking about that with the heart and the Sekhmet
Mhm.
experience. And I
Mhm.
feel like the initiation practice that, the goddess pose is a yoga pose, but that sequence we do was all channeled through for initiation. That was part of, the lessons. And I feel that was the time I was almost the most quiet, I think, in my life when I lived in Glastonbury. I had so much space, so much, you know, me time. And that's not always the reality. So, what a blessing to have that. But now I'm in back with family. It's a whole different experience,
Well, that was your gestation period, and now you're like giving birth to all these
Right,
fantastic experiences, and
right,
it's time to be out again. Yeah.
right, exactly, exactly. But with that being said, with going out sometimes because there's more contact with, people in my life, it's easier to talk things out. But then it's almost like I get more confused by doing that. So I'm knowing now this message is like go inward the way you did in Glastonbury. Like go inward the way you know to do when you meditate, and it's deepening through prayer in a different way of just like letting it go, because I think there can be all of us attached to a specific outcome, at times with certain situations in our life. And yeah, I feel like there's big initiations happening right now, especially during this eclipse time. I know for me they are. So I'm speaking into that right now.
Yes, this
And
whole year has been a lot. It's been
yeah,
a lot of growth and movement, and yeah, we need to be ready to go this year. Time is not slowing down.
right, right.
So,
So true. I'm like, unless we're in front of Sekhmet.
yeah, and then it doesn't exist.
Yeah,
Then
exactly.
we're outside of time for
Exactly.
sure.
Yeah, yeah. So another question I have is that, sometimes coming home, well, I can't say sometimes, I feel like all of the time, in my experience from going on any big journey or to sacred land or ley lines, activation points, retreats, whatever it is, and then we come back home into our reality and it's like the person who we were when we left our home is not who we are returning because of all the experiences we had. Now, what was it like for you integrating home? Like I know we had our closing ceremony and then we went into a 8-week series of integration
Mhm.
as well. What was it like for you having that experience of, landing back into this reality of where you came from before going on the journey?
Uh, I was tired, obviously, when I got home. It took a little time to get physically back here in this time zone. And, but I just felt so held and carried and uh, almost like I don't, how do I say it? I really felt held. I felt supported, and I felt like I had been a part of something that was so incredibly special that it it really couldn't even be expressed.
Hmm.
I was very not isolated, but I did spend a lot of time alone and didn't go out a lot for the first couple of weeks. I wanted to just be in my own home and, really process some of the things. And
Hmm.
then when we started our 8-week program, that was so helpful because it really, again, helped to go, oh, now I remember. And I, just went through all those weeks and reminded myself about which chakra, what it was we were getting from it, and because when you're on the trip is so much every day, there's no way you can retain all of that all at once. But so to go back through it was really helpful.
Mhm.
Um, but I think my energy was good when I got home. And in terms of like a shift, again, the thing I always go back to is how I struggled probably for the last 2 to 3 years at least of getting myself to action.
Mm.
Like there was this, I'd get right to the doorstep and not knock on the door, or I wouldn't, I'd knock on the door and not open the door to do the next step. And this was, I felt like a complete push forward, like let's go, let's do some things. So I've held some little mini retreats and done, done some things that I've just stepped into it. And then this beautiful modality, this healing modality has opened up.
Mhm.
So I'm stepping into that, and it's just without any worry or without any overthinking,
Mhm.
but feeling it. Does it feel right? Is it the right thing to do?
Mhm.
So I guess the way it changed over the long haul since April, and we're now in almost in September, at the end of August, is that I just feel so much more empowered in my own life to
Mm.
make decisions and to live it every day uh, in a really embodied and powerful way, connected to spirit and knowing that my next steps are divinely inspired, and I'll walk through it. I'll step in.
Mm.
So I'm not afraid. I do feel safe. That maybe is the biggest change, is that I feel safe.
Mm. That's so beautiful. I just feel that, and I can relate on so many levels, like how it's like that movement forward, and just to it's like there's something that opens up within ourselves when we do these journeys that it's kind of like for me the message coming through, it's like there's no turning back.
Oh no,
There's
because
no.
as I said, it's so life changing.
Yeah.
This is not a journey of, this isn't sightseeing.
Yeah.
This is a journey of the heart. It's a journey of the soul. It's
Mhm.
a journey into transformation. If you allow it, if you're open for it, then it can really change your life. It
Mhm.
really can. So I think waiting to go with you was the thing that I needed to do.
Mhm.
As I said, I had no questions about whether or not to go. I knew I was supposed to go, and followed that directive and did it, and well, forever changed because of it.
Mhm.
Hopefully for the better.
Yes. It's already evident. Your energy, I mean, you came in with a glow
I did. I don't know what that was
today.
about.
Yeah. And I'm really excited for you to start it's a training, right? With
Yes.
QHHT.
Yeah.
That is wonderful.
I have my
And
first session on Sunday, my first
okay.
client, so I'm excited.
Wow. Wow. Amazing. So you've done a training or you're
There are 3 levels. I've
okay.
completed level 1. And once you do level 1, then you have 25 sessions that you do. And you're considered an intern. So you're not charging, you're just doing them. And
Mhm.
then you do level 2, which is fine tuning your skills. And then level 3, you can be a paid practitioner. So I have a
Wow.
little training to go,
Hmm.
but it's beautiful work and it really calls to me.
Hmm.
And I can do it anywhere.
Yeah.
So wherever the wind blows and wherever I end up, I'm
Yes.
I'm free to be there, and doing the work.
Yes. That's amazing.
Yeah,
I can't wait to see everything that you create and everything that
thank
you
you.
blossom into.
Thank you.
It's really beautiful. And is there anything else that you feel you want to share? Do you feel complete?
Um, I think I would just share a thank you to you for being such an authentic soul and
Mm.
somebody who really is showing up in the world and doing the work, and even when it's hard, because it's not always easy.
Mhm.
Um, it just isn't. And there are times when I'm sure you feel like, oh boy, I can't do this particular thing, or I'm tired, or whatever it is. But you're so authentic, your heart's really in it. And this is not, it's a passion for you. It's not a business.
Mhm.
So that I really appreciate and thank you for,
Mhm.
because it's very evident that it's your soul's calling.
Mhm. I'm like, you're going to make me cry
I know.
because I feel it.
Oh,
Yeah, thank you. It's been
well, I
such a,
love you, sister.
I love you too, sister. And it's been such a blessing to, yeah, for you to enter my world. So,
Thank you.
yeah,
Same.
I hope we continue this journey in whatever way it's aligned and meant to unfold. And hopefully, again, our paths will cross in person. And I know I would love to come
Hope
to
so.
Florida someday because I've never been. So if you if you're
2 weeks
you
at
know,
the beach in September, you should come.
oh wow.
Come on. You might need
Okay.
that before your October trip.
Right.
Yeah. Well, I wish you blessings on your way, and I know it'll be an amazing journey when you go back to Egypt. It'll be really special. You'll have
Thank
to
you.
get our first little group all together and tell us about it. Let us know how it goes.
Absolutely, I will. Thank you so much for taking the time today to share
Absolutely, it
everything
was
with
my
me.
pleasure.
Yeah. So much love.